Good morning, good afternoon, happy Thursday, LinkedIn. Welcome to a super special edition of Let's Build HubSpot Onboarding. We've got Willem and special guest Mr. Matt Bolian here. How you fellas doing today?
Very good. I just basically this is my week off. I came back from the Netherlands yesterday, visited the Amsterdam office for the first time, and yeah, doing pretty well. How
That's
about you, Matt?
awesome.
I'm doing supered.
Nailed it.
Yeah,
Easiest
that's what the
question to
T-shirt
answer
says.
for this guy. Um, no, it's good to have you back, Matt. It's been a few months now since we touched on this topic the first time in terms of this awesome functionality coming out from Superid called action plans. But Willem and I have been here doing the hard work, talking about onboarding week in, week out. Uh, I joked last week that every time I go to put in a transcript and get AI help with titling and stuff, there's always some title option that's like setting expectations is like how to set expectations to have a successful onboarding. So we've definitely been doing the work and excited to kind of dive back in with you today because I've been excited for action plans, excited for just helping people with whatever journey they need to take when they first meet HubSpot, whether it's day one for the person that was like, yeah, let's get HubSpot. I'm the champion, I'm the buyer, to day 180 when we've hired some new people. Now we got to introduce them into HubSpot. To day 365 where maybe there's some new leadership. We're growing like gangbusters. They need to understand what HubSpot's doing. Like all those things are all involved when it comes to onboarding and adoption and really getting the most out of HubSpot. So super excited to see what you guys are up to with action plans. But how has it been going, like developing and kind of because this is a pretty big step for you guys, yeah?
Yes. Man, last time we talked, 5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, it was a month ago plus. We are talking about the launch of action plans, and I guess like step back for a second. How's it been going? One of the things is and I wrote a post about this. All my thoughts are on digital online. It is the most therapeutic thing to do. Is just write LinkedIn posts. So I just it's therapy for me, guys. So when I write, like you're getting what I'm thinking in that moment in time. I wrote about 3 days ago, and I wrote this. I was like, we started very simple, and we started with a portal replicator tool. And still to this day, I mean, there is nothing in the market that they probably like. There's other people that like say they do it, like it's like 70%, like just wide and far. That's the like by far. Super has the most robust portal replicator. So the question would be, why do we start there? And was it ever? What was it? Where like our vision? Our vision was never to be a portal replication product. That and I did a post today. We just hired a new videographer, like a video person, and like everything we do is executing a strategy. Why did we do a portal replication tool if we care about adoption more the most? Why? I just like why, and it's because we care a whole lot about like we wanted to be really ingrained and we're going to solve adoption inside HubSpot. And so why do we start there? And it was the first most transformational thing we could do specifically for HubSpot partners that think about adoption, which is to do things faster so they could spend more time on strategy because you need to spend time on strategy adoption, right? Just at a like a level. So it's there. So I'm going to action plans. So we have been for the last 18 months building to the ability to have action plans. And we spent a lot of time last time talking about what it takes to get adoption and why it's so darn difficult. These things like we have more tools than ever. We need to just be better where we are. We need to have real time enablement in the place we are serving those contents. Like you need to have updates and send updates when something changes in the system to your current users. Every user needs to be able to search and find exactly what they're looking for where they are. You need step-by-step guides on screen telling people where to click often. You need maps showing people where like you need all of this to just be successful. So action plans is that like next element because people are asking, okay, this is really great, but period. What do I do next? Was often the question. Like, where do I start? And we call action. It's a bookend. It is. We have finished building at this point a very wide product, but we now have the full product and everything else we're doing. And so I'm excited to be and that be like finished and us have a we publicly launched a beta that was got a lot of feedback and now we've made the changes and now I'm here. So we're now it's like ready to start talking about it's done with that. We have entire HubSpot solutions partners rebuilding their delivery system around action plans. And it is
Mm.
now it is a customer facing and internal facing the ability to give task to people with guidance directly where they are when they are. It is not a task management system like ClickUp. It is a customer orchestration system, which there are two different things. If you've been in delivery, like it is the only way. It is finally a way to give your customers the things you want them to do where they are, which is the big pain point. So it's the final step to adoption, in our opinion. Everything else we do is now just sanding.
Awesome. Uh, well, I'm excited, but before we get into it, Willem, when you hear Matt talk about those challenges and talk about what action plans is, like what gets you as a customer success, guy, you've been in it, you've been seeing these struggles. What gets you excited about a tool like this being available to people?
I'm going to give one example, and keep in mind that no example is the perfect example. But a while ago, I had a customer who was like, "Yeah, so campaigns, how do I do that?" And of course, you can drill down to how do I make a, a fraction of the campaign? How do I attach a resource to that? How do I attach something? But you really want an action plan, like, okay, this is how you do it. And sure, that should be somewhat customized. But what I really, if I look at action plans, I really think about, you're a HubSpot partner. You have that all set up. You basically push that to the customer, and the customer all of a sudden knows how to do it. Because for me, the most important part about adoption isn't about doing what you know how to do, but doing what you don't know how to do.
Mm,
And this customer, and keep in mind that it's just one, maybe even silly example, but the customer was on board with HubSpot for about 4 years. They were doing really well. They just had no idea what campaigns were. And then you're going to talk about attribution and that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, now what? And I feel like if you can take it to the next level, because we talked about guided onboarding last week. If I, during my HubSpot onboarding, I see for 20 minutes how to do a campaign, I will definitely forget that. That's just life. That's how it works. How cool would it be if there would be an action plan how to do this?
yeah, and I think like uh, it shouldn't be hard. It might be hard for some, but like when Matt started with the portal replicator, like half the battle, maybe a majority of the battle right now I see in the ecosystem as HubSpot explodes with both functionality and customer base. Like it's not just like it's probably still 80% SaaS, but since the just sheer volume of customers is growing, we're seeing more manufacturing. We're seeing more of these other use cases where they're coming in at very much not marketing hub places in all these other places. And while it's creating a bunch of opportunity for partners and experts and people to serve them, we're all building solutions in silos and we're calling things different names. And like, yeah, it's great to have that customizability and configurability, but it makes it really hard to just build any kind of foundation to then do bigger and better things on. Because when inevitably something happens to the person you're working with, or the partner, or you move to the next business as a user, and now we're we're looking at something that just it's named something different and it's harder to support. So finding that balance between standardization and configuration and customization, like we've we've got to do better with standardization because we've got a lot of people building really awesome things in just slightly different ways, and that has a huge impact on just causing these disconnects that we're seeing every day right now.
Your thoughts, Matt?
Yes, I mean, period. So my big thought there is the idea of standardization, and that is a dirty, 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 dirty word with HubSpot partners. And Chris, you better watch out what you're saying. Is
I've been saying,
uh,
I know,
I
I'm that
uh,
guy. I'm happy to be that guy.
yeah, yeah. Let me say it. Let me say it a different way, and I like saying bombast. I used to be in the military, and so I like to start. We use the word bluff, bottom line up front. And so often when I talk, I say I don't, I don't detail in state. I in state then detail. And so some people may call it bombastic. I call that I just tell you what I think first, and then I tell you what happens next. So
Start
here's
with
that.
the end in mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, um, you will not scale a business if you do not standardize. Period. And period. End of story. Like done. You can't do it. It's impossible. Uh,
Agreed.
period. Like I don't know. There's no argument. And sometimes we like argue about this, and I'm like, what are we talking about? You
Right.
cannot standardize. You cannot build a business. And so when you tell me you don't want to standardize, you're telling me you don't want to build a business. And so that's what I hear. So let's get into like the nuance of this, Chris, and we'll get into like where action plans sit within that adoption story. But it's this something you standardize so you can customize, right? Like there are things where there are processes, there are a way you deliver, there's a way you record calls, it's how you do your weekly updates, it's where you put your to-dos. Those are all standard processes and ways people experience you, and they have nothing to do with what you do. It is how you operate. It's how you deliver. And so there is no business anywhere that's not standardized. You standardize how you fire people, how you hire people, how you do performance reviews, how you deliver to clients. And if you don't, you will fail. So I'm excited to like, especially in the HubSpot ecosystem. Let's stop being angry about the words. Let's just embrace standardization, because standardization is the path to customization.
Yes. And for me, like the most recent example of the problem that we're trying to solve here is this beautiful object library comes out, and for the first time there's native objects that people can use to help run a business that are not called tickets, deals, contacts, and companies. And for those that don't know, it's appointments, courses, listings, and services. And one of the first comments I heard is like, can we customize the name? Can we change the names? And I'm like, no, no, you cannot. Like that, you're
No,
missing the point here.
you could if you had super, by the way, guys. If you want to take one of those custom libraries and you would like to copy and paste it and change the names very quickly, I got you.
There you go.
That
There you go.
wasn't the direction that we were meaning to take, but
Yeah, sorry. I was just saying, if you want to customize some standard, again, I've standardized the ability to customize. Like that's how I think.
yeah,
So
Yeah. No, it's key because like the ability to manage and create maintenance and management in the right places, not in all these places where if we were doing that and somebody's coming in to support, or like you nail, like how often is it, man, this guy's got a bunch of experience, or we're gonna bring her in because she knows HubSpot, she's gonna crush it, and she comes in and looks at your portal and is like, oh, I don't know, what are you guys doing over here? Like,
yeah,
I
but
haven't seen anything like this before, right? Now it's brand new onboarding. So the whole reason that you brought them in to try and fast track this value, things like that happen all the time where now it's like a whole retraining just because we decided to do everything differently in our portal. and now it's a year. It's a year until we can actually leverage all of the value that we thought we were going to get up front. And that time to value is everything right now. I mean, with AI, we don't have 12 months anymore. We just don't.
Yeah, but to add to the standardization bit, if we're gonna say we're not gonna standardize a thing, and I know that that's bad, but hear me out for 1 second. If we're gonna say we're not gonna do that, how are we gonna maintain even the product updates in HubSpot? So you should have a standardization framework saying, "Ooh, I have a certain amount of content. I can really easily link things to that has changed, that hasn't changed. I'm gonna, you know, update a guide, for instance, and that guide is included in an action plan or something like that." And Matt, keep in mind, I haven't seen the full of width of the action plans, but I assume that that will just keep working. And that means that if you create that level of standardization, even for a single company, that would make sense, let alone if you're a partner. And of course, maybe not
Yeah,
for a mama and papa store, but yeah, well, you get the idea.
Are you all ready to see action plans?
I am. We are.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are. So let us
Okay.
have it.
Yeah, this will be the. This is not the official launch, but you're the first person I have. I mean, we do these like crazy, super duper up feature updates, and y'all haven't seen one for action plans. There's a reason why. That's because they weren't ready to talk about out loud. This is the first place I've talked about them. I've shown them in any comprehensive way whatsoever. And we're going to change that very tenaciously very soon. But here we go.
Look
Yeah,
up
but
an
we can still say
exclusive.
first. So
Yeah,
yeah,
be all the first people, and that is not a like solutions partner that I'm working with to build this. Okay, I'm showing my entire screen, and I'll switch over. I'm going to do this first before we get into it. I'm going to move you all over here so I can still see your faces. I like seeing reactions to things. Okay, I just did this real quick. So what's the idea of action plans? And there's actually two elements here, but it's task and plans that will tell me what to do where I am. Right? It's be giving context and relevancy. And it's the final tool and the tool belt, if you would, in terms of adoption. So I'm going to show you two things
Can
before
you
we get
zoom
into
in
it, and I'm going to get
a
some
little
use
bit?
cases. Go ahead.
Can you zoom in a little bit for us?
Oh, yeah,
Just make it a little bigger.
I'll make it bigger if I can. If I figure it out real quick. I thought it used to be up here. It's right here. Boop, boop. Okay. I'm going to show you task
There we
first.
go.
After task, show you plans, and here's some use cases I'm going to go over. So things you have to solve for when you have any type of plan is you have to solve for new things. You have to serve for one-time things for current employees, and you have to solve for reoccurring things. And you'll see this internally. This is like new person right here. So this is there is a anytime you're like a new process, which is a different idea, right? Because that means you have old people teaching new things to. This is new person teaching new things to different elements. And then you have another one. This is a reoccurring process. Action plans fit all of these things internally. And that's what they're built for. But also when you build for this, and this is our big like bet, because we build for, who do we build for first? Chris, who's our primary customer?
Partners.
HubSpot partner solutions partners, which no app
HubSpot
partner says that.
partners.
So let me just be clear. Like, yes, we have built a robust thing that internal people love. They love it. Absolutely love it. But we build for, so what does this mean? Like translate this. This is new client. This is new client process. And this is reoccurring client process. That's what we actually built for. And we built it in a way that does both needs at the same time. Okay. So what I'm going to show when we do this is, let me go to task, show you how they work, and then I'll show you how the plans themselves work. And then let's get into one or two use cases, and then y'all can just ask away. Here we go.
Sounds good.
The first thing is inside this is the sidekick. For people familiar with Super, part of the big thing is a sidekick that is completely rebrandable. Inside of it, we have this new thing called task. And inside task, you have a full task list. And this is just me keeping my daily task here. And so this is I keep my daily task, but I also have tasks that come from action plans. And I know it's there because it says it's connected to an action plan. And I'll show you what that means in a second. So when I create a task, I'm like, anytime someone tells me something, and you see, my team has said, Matt, I have a super duper feature update about task that I need to do, and they tell me what to do, and when to do it, and I have people. Each person has been added to it, so I can see it right here. So my team tasked me with something to do. What am I supposed to do? Let's look at it quick. I'm going to look at it. They gave me a link inside, and I duper, which is a super duper feature update about task, and I'm supposed to post this for Saturday. So just like talking about, like, I just have a list of things with all the things I need directly where I'm supposed to be. That's task. Just using it for daily. By the way, this is free for anybody. Just use it this way. Just using it this way, transformative. Love it. I use it this way. Number 2 is let's go to a plan. So this is connected to a plan. What is this? It's telling me to read this report name. But if I go to the plan that it's talking about, let me click over here. If I go to the plan it's talking about, it would open up the full action plan. This is actually Matt's Q3. I'm supposed to do these are my reviews, and it's telling me, hey, link to the Google telling me, and here's every single one of my like people that I owe quarterly reviews for that I have to do. And so here's the plan that I'm supposed to do, and they're not added to me. But if I wanted to add them, I could literally add myself, assign it, put Matt Bolian on it from here, save. And if I go back to task, I will now have that I'm supposed to do that task for whoever I just added. That's cool. So your action plans themselves, like you can literally make and assign action plans in the moment in time. And this is internal, but this also works externally. I'm gonna stop here for a second. What you thinking, Chris?
I'm thinking looks an awful lot like project management inside the place where I need to get work done. We're not calling it project management, which I think I like. But is that kind of like, is that a part of the use case we're trying to solve here?
Yeah, adoption in my mind, there's like I said the bookend. Adoption part of adoption's what? And so like here, what is this also? This is also it's my entire knowledge base of everything I'm supposed to do. It's where I do my task and where I can be assigned and say what I'm supposed to do with the information I need. And it's where I can see updates like that have been assigned across. So like example, we just did a new post today for Grant. I got everything right here for my, like, this is us assigning me a task, and I got a task to do this. And it said, here was the update. Here's what it's about. Here's the link to the card. And they did this wrong, but here's the link to the card that tells me, hey, here's a new person. And we communicate and task each other all in Supered, which is where we work. So I have all this information I need on LinkedIn. Why I'm on LinkedIn. This is part of the it breaks people's minds. You're like, they don't you're like, what? I never have to leave where I am, and I can just assign people things there, and I can put it in an order, and I can tell them what order to do it in, and I can give them the resources they need. Yes, you can.
But before somebody else asks that question, Matt, how do you see the tasks in Supered compared to the tasks in HubSpot? Do you use one or the other or both?
We have to have an opinion on this, and here's my opinion
Oh, yeah.
today. And we have deliberately not yet integrated this with HubSpot. Why? I'm gonna get into HubSpot. Where am I right now?
You mean whose portal?
Yeah, whose portal am I in right now?
If you ask me, your portal.
My portal.
And
Where
it
is this?
still shows all the tasks.
Yeah, like, so it's like there's no, like, Super's integrated everywhere, right? Let's just like it's integrated to everything.
Yeah, and especially if you're a partner, you have a ton of portals that you have access to.
Yep. So next question, to like put it, what's the difference between a HubSpot task and a Super task? HubSpot tasks are today, and we are thinking about ways to integrate this. Maybe it's just we have partners asking us, and we're going to do what the customer asks. Today it is, we have the ability very quickly to just sync these tasks one-on-one and make them HubSpot tasks, period. and we may make that an option, right? But right now it's not. And the reason we're saying is HubSpot tasks are for sequences and executing sales tasks specifically. And these are for getting work done that it's not sales activity specific.
I think that that's a perfect answer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We had to have an opinion on it because we may have had a few disagreements on whether we should do it or not. I being on the side we should do it, and I think and Steve on the side it's going to cause more confusion. Let's see what people actually like first.
Well, I think it's fair too because there's also marketing tasks. They're doing a lot of stuff to mess around with tasks, in my opinion, inside of HubSpot. So not, you know, maybe not the best time to like hitch your wagon to exactly how we think that should wants to work because we
Yeah.
know a lot of people would like
Yeah,
tasks and project management in general to be better inside of HubSpot.
yeah, and this is where I think. And okay, I'm going to sit here for a second. We're just set on task. We haven't got to action plan. You just seen a little bit of it. I'm gonna
Yeah, sorry.
we haven't done client, but like no, it's transformed. Tasks are a part of this and why it took so long. And we had to get this experience well. We had to get this experience done, right? And I'm gonna show you what it looks like to create one in a second. But this is where I think the idea of adoption matters a lot. And this is where I think HubSpot will not be able to fix it. I actually think that, or I wouldn't build it. I try not to build things HubSpot will build over because they build over everything that makes sense to them. And so I try to think, where will HubSpot never fix? Like what's a existential thing that is impossible from the fix? And this is what I think. And having been a solutions partner, having talked to hundreds, it is this. It is HubSpot's not the only tool people use. And so HubSpot is manically, and as they should, be focused on getting people to adopt HubSpot. And as an outsider, I actually say that's not the best way to get people to adopt HubSpot. The best way to get people to adopt HubSpot is to do what? Help partners focus on people achieving business outcomes and helping them integrate HubSpot into their current processes and their ERPs and into their HR systems and payrolls and into their adoption cannot be solved at a CRM level. It must be solved at a business level. And so I'm building a business tool that helps people use HubSpot with a HubSpot bias, right? So we have some HubSpot bias built in because we do have tools that work better in HubSpot.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Usually when people say
Appreciate
this,
the
like
hard
when
work.
stuff's not going to buy you, and I say they haven't offered enough money yet. So that's my statement.
Appreciate the hard work, man.
Yeah, but
So,
it'll basically be the glue that sticks
yes.
everything together.
Yes. So that's what we're trying to be. And we're trying to make it, that is it, right? We want to be the glue that puts the systems together because there will, even as much we push, there'll be different systems. There's Apollo in HubSpot. There's sales, like just no matter where you are, there's still Salesforce in HubSpot is actually the most common combination. It just is a reality and we can't pretend we don't exist there. Okay. So even though it's changing and I want to be part of the change. So let's go to number 2. Okay, what does it look like to create a task? And so I use this for like daily task management, and we needed like part of adoption is I can go there every single day and it feels comfortable. And so this is part of getting people to just use Super to make a very actionable task. And we're thinking a lot about that. I mean, like we're going to add the ability to create tasks from cards. Like you have something to do, you can make a task very quickly from the card. The ability to create tasks from Slack. The ability to create like just make it where this is the place you're sending things very quickly. If you're looking here, I'll do is create task. And I say, send a thank you to Chris and William after the call. And let's say I wanted to add a external link or content that would teach someone to do that. And I could say card, and I'm going to make card's going to say how to create a deal in HubSpot. I don't know why I'm sending that to you, but I'm going to save it. I'm going to save that. And then I want to say, and then I'm going to assign it, not just to myself, but I'm going to assign it to, he's going to be angry at me, to Steve. So I can literally assign things to 2 different people. I messed that up, Steve. Right here. Push save. And he now sees the same task I see. So you can use this to delegate tasks to people and give them their instructions. Hey, Steve, I'm saying this for this reason. I can't type, by the way. Do that thing. I'm on a live call. Don't respond. Okay. He could actually type back on that to me, by the way. He could type back to that task to me.
Right in line.
In line.
We're still waiting for him,
Oh,
basically,
he's not going
to
to.
dive back.
But just give me examples.
Wow.
That's kind of cool, right? That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
That's kind of
that's
cool.
awesome.
Really cool.
Okay. So those are tasks. And again, where have we never gone? We're not in the back end of Super. I'm sitting on a Google Doc. Okay. Let's move to the back end of Super. Here's task. Now, we don't want people to live here. And so we have it. It's very simple today. We're going to have a whole task engine that allows us to create lists. Again, not project management. It's just like getting people to do work, not planning big, long projects that never end, right? It's getting people to do work. And so you'll see like completed, all tasks. We have different things we're doing upcoming, and we're going to create. We're going to update this engine, but it's just a very general. We don't expect people to do tasks. I don't want people to do tasks here. I want them to do it in the Chrome, the extension, either the Edge extension or the Chrome extension. So boom. You'll see Ashley. Remember that thing I assigned me to? There is her quarterly report. It's assigned from the action plan. If I go to the action plan, yeah, where does it open up? Because Chrome extension, it opens up in the Chrome extension. I can see the action plan and my task. So like you see this thought where you are, allow it to get information, context, and relevance to do it. And I can see the entire, if I had more phases, I would see it. Sweet. Now I'm going to go.
That's really cool.
I'm going to say task, get to know them. Let's go to plans. Let's get to know a plan real quick and what it is. And then we'll talk about some like these use cases. So the way to do a plan is we have it under the task and I say, I'm going to, let me actually, all plans, everything we do is in a base. So we have this big button saying create, and you'll say create card, folder, record guide, actions. And y'all know these, like creating the content or creating the guide, which is that step-by-step. But the action plan here, if you click that, it opens a modal, which is, hey, do I want a one-time, like create a specific set? So this will be like a one-time project. This may be a one-time rollout. Or do I want to create a template that will allow me to reuse it? I'm going to create a template here just to say, and I'm going to create this template. And you could take one from something you're already doing. I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call this process roll out. I'm going to put it in this base, and the folder I'm going to put it in is actions plan testing. I'm going to go create template, and it takes me to this blank. I can't spell. It takes me to this blank thing. So the first thing you do is when you roll out a new process, what phase do you do? What's the first thing you do when you're rolling out a new phase? Let's do step 0.
Requirements, something like that.
Yeah, let's do get requirements. Well, requirement mapping. Enter. Then you add your section. Section 1. You say determine. Again, I'm being really just doing this really quick. Stakeholders, and then I create the task, which is who is on the team, and how will we communicate? And I can even inside program how many days until that's due. Hey, as soon as you create this plan next time, this is due 1 week, and you can start setting dates on, hey, that's the next day, right? And you can auto populate all your dates based on this. So I'm gonna add another section. The next section would be, hey, once we do that, we actually need to do requirements mapping, and that is schedule first meeting. Again, I'm gonna stop here, but y'all get the idea, right? You create the task, you do it, and you can even here, I'm just sitting there. Okay, you add next phase. Next phase is tell people about it, and you do that same thing. Next phase is send update for company. Next phase is maintenance, whatever it is, right? You just add your sections, you add that. Y'all with me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Really cool, really fast. You can do this. So started thinking the use cases, anything that happens more than once.
I mean,
But
I was
what
just excited
we
that
didn't see,
it's
and maybe that went a little bit too fast, you can also include the guides in there and all that sort of thing,
Yeah,
just
let's
to
say
make
that's
sure.
William knows my product better than I do. Thank you, William. Thank you. You can attach and say, hey, this is how you schedule that first meeting. And that first meeting is going to be, again, I just put schedule, how to schedule an update. And I push save. And now when that thing's created, it'll say open guide and it will open on your screen, right? So it opens the guide and it'll tell you where to go. And if I push guide me, it would guide me to, let me see where this is. It would guide me to how to create an update there, right? Which is cool. Okay. The next thing you can do on these tasks, which we haven't shown, is maybe I have an external link, which is like, maybe it's filling out a form, right? So I could literally say super.io, and then on text, I could say fill out the form, save. And when I have that, I just messed that up. But when I have it, it would say fill out the form. It would give a specific title and to it. So that's creating a process. Very simple. You can do it one time. You're in template. So I created a template. So now I
You
actually
mean
want to
very effective, not very simple, or both, basically.
I think it's both, right? The point here is, why is this not project management? Because I get lost in project management softwares. It doesn't look the way I want to manage. And so this is practical, actionable, and effective. I can make it fast. It looks the way I want it to look, and I can assign it immediately to people where they are, not tell them to log in to ClickUp, as an example.
Yes.
Which is the issue. Like, no, it's the thing we already use, guys. You just log in and your tasks are set, and you can see the plan.
Yeah.
So
right
now that we do that,
oh, that's what came to mind earlier when, like, why you wouldn't want to call it that. It's like literally, like, they can take action.
Yes.
Instead of going to this other place where it's like 100% administrative almost.
Yes.
Like, and
Yeah,
now
but if
you
you're
can
gonna
just do
say
it
that,
in here.
if you're gonna say this is project management, then the first thing that comes to mind for me is, do I need a course for that? And
Yeah.
realistically,
Or
this
they want a
is
Gantt
simple
chart,
enough.
and then when it's
Yeah.
it's like, hey, this is a
Yes,
visual
Gantt
way of
charts.
seeing where you are in the process. So let's go to now. Let's say I wanted to assign this to somebody. Like, all you do, and I just did that. I have the template. You go to plan. I go to create plan, and from here I assign Matt. And you have different personas you can put into people, which you create. And all these things were just assigned to me with the dates: tomorrow, Thursday, 28th. And if I go to what are the things that are going to show up on my task? I will now have these things that will show up on how to do. Schedule first meeting, open the guide, right? That's what we just talked about. I can open the guide and it'll tell me what to do, which is that.
And I'm gonna say that really is a game changer for a lot of companies that want to roll out at scale, because the key word again is scale.
So this is great. This is internal. How do I turn this to external? Like, how would I send this to people externally? This is the beautiful thing. This is the beautiful thing. If I go to, first off, I can just go to users, watch. And so we're actually doing a net new, it comes out tomorrow, where I can add users from here. So I had an end user and I can just add them to this plan. But watch. If you are on if you are a solutions partner and you have the partner plan, yeah, and I do something external. You see this? I could send something to qualify from here, and I could assign him on this plan from my internal plan. What? Yes. And it will show up
Oh my gosh.
where he is in his super instance with the task that I assign him. So do you see I've done everything internally, and it's just a switch. You can now treat clients and tell them what to do very fast.
I'm getting a little.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say it the other way around.
Over here.
If you're a client, you can actually make your partner do the work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's it. So like it's where they are with the guides and telling them what to do. And you have the communication. It's all in the same place. You are literally working from the same place, from like literally, right? Where you are. And so you can now send things and do things. You don't have to be the back end of Super. You can actually come and see. So what this gives you, I'm not going to put that here because I don't want to send him an email and all that stuff. But now if I'm looking at this, I'll come to this and I can see every action plan that I've done for this template of the process rollout. I can see every rollout that's currently happening, every user that's doing it, and I can see the next task, how many are due, and if any are overdue. And I can actually assign people from here. So maybe I have 3 different processes that are rolling out. I can actually assign the users and the people that are doing it. I can see where we're at, and this changes as I do them. Let me give an example of that. I'm going to go back into this. Open this part. What happened? You see that? I don't have any tasks here, right?
Yep.
So just just going to do things. Like if I do that, 100% done. Now, if you see it crosses out, like 101 complete. If I go to, I actually go back to the template and I go back to, look at my plans that are done from this. You'll see, I can actually see how many tasks are done, which ones to do, what's the next task, all this. So you now have the management. Pretend, what if you can do, there's a couple of different ways. I like the part of this is be creative. You could have your client set up and you could see where everybody's at very quickly on their setup for client. You could have every new employee onboarding here and see where they're at as they finish. And you can very quickly. So it's built for it's built for doers, but also the managers. And that's what I mean. We built for partners first.
Silly question. If I'm a partner, do I see this per customer and then per user, or do I just get one list of all the users?
You see it by plan.
Okay.
And so if I was doing it, I would have an action plan. I would have a template called setup, right? I would go to plans. I'd create a new plan. I'd say, I'm going to create another plan. And I would change this to say, let's call this Let's Build Media. And I would say, I don't have you in here, Chris, so you don't get to be found. But then I would let's put myself. It's going to tell me, hey, a person's already assigned to this plan. That's okay. I'm going to put create plan. Now I have another plan to me. Let's finish all these things. And I'm going to go to plans. And now look, I have Let's Build Media onboarding all done. 100% of task. So you think of the use cases, it's pretty wild, the amount of use cases. We're just giving people like, hey, here are the things. And now this is what leads to the next announcement, right? Which comes in. We talk about training. It may or may not be called the Forge, right? As we think about how do we create systems, how do we standardize so that we may customize around this type of ability? Because there is nothing in the market today that allows people to assign tasks to external users or internal users where they work and give them the information they need to do the job contextually.
Yeah. And of course, HubSpot has that capability, but only for internal users, like you say, and that doesn't solve for partners.
It doesn't solve, because what do you have to do? You have to use HubSpot where? In your Gmail.
Yep.
You have to use, you have to prospect where? On LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man.
I'll let y'all sit for a second. These are just questions.
Yeah. Anybody that watches any of my shows, I usually don't have a hard time saying a lot of words.
But now you
I'm
do.
having a hard time articulating how powerful this can and should be to solve for these gaps that we're here every week talking about. So I'm curious, if you don't mind, Matt, I imagine your team is using this
Yes.
to some extent.
Yeah.
As your team started using it, was there any surprises for you, or can you easily say this is one place it just started just taking efficiency to ridiculous levels?
Well, it just got to a point. The reason I haven't talked about this out loud, because I said, guys, I'm not proud of this yet. And thus I'm not talking about it, and I'm not going to use it. And when you make these changes, and we need to rapidly get there, I will start using it, talking about it. That happened about 3 days ago. And I want you I just want you to see, it is that easy to use and adopt. So we have this whole thing. We have our launch of becoming super. That is the next thing. We're now using this, and you can I can go and see what that looks like and who's being involved in it. This is the one we just made. I'm doing our performance quarterly reviews from this, which you saw. So if I go to that, I can see who I've done, what I haven't. We did our first Christopher Burnett onboarding plan from this, which is now done, with him getting up and running. And this is my one away long time ago that I started and didn't like at all. And I told them that we're not going to announce it externally until it's fixed. So the biggest is, and you saw this, is I have I use this. Like, hey, I am going to publish this. I have sales tasks. Hey, reach out to Content Chemist, reach out to Dan, like things I'm going to do. Reach out to Timmy, reach out to Mimi, give feedback swag for this. We're doing a fashion show in January, right? I got to give feedback on like what we're doing and the stuff we're doing. Answer, like I have these things, and this is me managing myself and people managing me. I don't like, it's hard to get, it's me managing myself and and people managing me.
Yeah. So I like what just came to mind is we talk about unified view of the customer and how powerful that can be and why we want to help people with HubSpot get to that point. What I'm seeing here is like a unified view, literally everything for me as a user in my work life, like in one place.
Yes. Yes. And that we think about adoption, it gets very, because you got to do like, here's an example. Look, Ardent Growth. Look, how cool is this? I just want to see this for a second. Ardent Growth, this means they're a customer. Every customer, we have a embedded trigger. And if I click it, that embed is actually, so I know who the PSM is. And if I click that, I can see, I look, by the way, look what we do. I can see the actual, we have HubSpot embedded directly into this. And I can like go in and see and like who it
Oh
is and
my
all of it.
gosh.
I want you to know, like, this is how we're using Supered, and it's going to break. Like, it's just a matter of time. People still think of Supered as a portal replication tool, and it's not. And we're the best portal replication tool, and like at the same time, right? Uh,
But for me,
This is
and keep in
brilliant,
mind,
man.
Matt, that the last time I looked at this, I gave you a little bit of feedback like, ooh, something, and that was a minor thing, doesn't make sense for me. And you were like, yeah, I already know, and working on it, basically. But for
mhm.
me, this whole thing is kind of, it makes sense. And it really is, how would you like it to work? Well, that's how it works. And that is where I feel like it's intuitive. It, you know,
Yep.
the only thing that I'm gonna keep saying is that this doesn't make much sense if you're the only user in a portal.
Period. I'm gonna show here is, and this is where we're going, guys. And I'm gonna be like, we have people. I am HubSpot by choice,
Yes.
not because I have to be. And so you said it only makes sense if I have a portal, and I'd be like, if someone comes to me, like with Zapier, we're currently going through calls with them. Is it doesn't matter how many people you have in HubSpot. Like it's how many people do you have? Like when you have 20, it's like do you have 25? Do you have 20 people on your team? You need Super. I don't care if you have
Oh
HubSpot
yeah,
or not.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's
No,
like
for
that.
me, it's all about, do you really build for scale? And any company that's either wants to grow to a certain level or is already at a certain level, for them, scale should not be an option. It's
Yes,
a no-brainer. It is a non-negotiable. And how do you
absolutely.
scale knowledge and how do you scale processes?
So yeah, so we have this new that just came out, and so we're gonna be so I'm gonna sit. There's action plans, right? So
Yeah.
that's awesome. I mean, it's like period. Okay, so
This
now we haven't
is
sanded. We
excellent.
haven't sanded, right? Like when I mean sanded, I mean like everything we've done is like some initial launches. We're about to come back and sand, and it's gonna be like you think. What I mean by, so let me give you an example. Like is right now we have this whole block editor. You can do all this stuff and send, and you can put stuff in it. But like just 2 days ago, I mean like yesterday, Steve was like, "What's the most important thing we should build?" And we're like, "Matt, I really wish I could send mentions to people." And so he's like, "Okay." So now we're done doing that. You can like send mentions to people, and I can like send stuff. It'll send a notification of like, "Hey, this like you can see task assigned, all the stuff. You can have it all up here." And he just mentioned me. He mentioned me in Digital J2's like thing. But you can now mention people and like this. I mean, we'll be able to create tasks from here, and it's about to become just unification of it all working together and more seamlessly. And I'm gonna delete this so he doesn't actually look at this.
This is
Okay. And I'll stop sharing now.
that-
Hopefully that was hopefully it was worth the wait.
Oh, absolutely. That was very informative.
man.
Chris, your
This is a
thoughts?
really, you should be proud for sure. uh, And it is all like be proud, but also like we talk about this with AI a lot. Like when you see tools like this come out, and when you know what's possible, you know how the ecosystem works together and the challenges that have just been right in plain sight. And when people are just hyper focused on this is the worst it's ever going to be, and it's already really awesome. So when you talk about sanding and like making it better, and now that you have this foundation, and this is what we're talking about, right? You start to create this standardized way that the whole thing works together. Now it's like, oh yeah, you want that? Of course we can do that. We can do that real quick. Like it's already done somewhere, or it's already experienced that we can just kind of, reapply without having to think about how everything's connected or coded or whatever. Like you just
Yep.
get past that stuff, and now you start building and scaling like crazy, and
Yes.
it's
And
beautiful.
you make this point of because people ask us all the time, where is AI in this? Like, where's your AI tool? And I'm sit and say, everybody's building AI. It's like almost like a marketing employee. And in fact, people are throwing money at AI. And I'm like, I am hyper focused on the things I do that will AI will never touch. And that is the humans that still exist. How do I get them to do the things I want them to do? And AI will do the other way. It will, people will be expected to do more with less because AI exists. It's actually going to create additional expectation and burden on people, right? Because I'm like, hey, why did you take why, this is crazy. Why did you take an hour to edit that video? Like, that's a crazy statement, but that is now true. Why did you take an hour to edit that video? I could have made four snippets automatically. Just use Riverside and allow you to make your snippets. And so, what is the
Yep.
actual thing you need to solve for? You need to tell people what to do and how to do it. That's the
Hmm.
thing you have to solve for. And so, how to create a Riverside place and create snippets automatically, and then reoccurring, just do it. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to solve for. That's how you create scale. And so, how like it's that is the problem we're solving. Um, period. And then as we get context and relevancy, we might maybe start thinking about adding AI, but it will be very particular and very specific. And but it's about the last mile. We're focused on the last mile.
I would actually worry a little bit if you would say, well, we're gonna fully go in with AI because people will just start generating stuff like manuals and that sort of thing that are incorrect. Let's
Yes. Yeah.
keep the wording positive, and that is non-optimal, and that, for instance, work the way HubSpot used to work 3 years ago.
Yeah, and there's this desire to when someone first sees it. So let me give a few. I think it's helpful. Let's digest this. If I was a solopreneur, or maybe I'm a solutions partner, or I'm a consultant of any kind, and I'm a 5-person shop, should I use Super? I'm gonna like digest this for a second, right? Traditionally, when I'm getting people are saying would be, this looks like a lot of work to like get documentation in, and this is what I mean by I need to train people to make sure they know that that entire thought's wrong. And so what I mean by that is when you have a call recording today, or when you send an email today, or how do you deliver reoccurring value for your current customers? I send them an email. Like, why do you send an email? Why don't you send exactly where they are? How do you tell them what to do? Well, I have a full project plan, or I have it on Notion, and they have to log in, and we like look at it every. I'm like, why? Why don't you just have that? Why don't you tell them exactly what to do where they are? And so there's a bit of this. This is transformative, and my struggle is teaching people that. Um, so it's like applicable to a 1-person shop or a 50-person shop, right? It's the same things. And so they have the issue of I have hundreds of documents. How do I get it in fast? And so like the problems we're solving there, that's the problems we're starting to think about. How do you get into super quickly? No
Yeah,
longer
Yeah.
like is it effective or does it work? It's about how do you get into it.
but I do understand the people who feel like, this is going to be a lot of work because the first time that I looked at Supert, it was like, ooh, this is going to be a nightmare to actually create a card, and that's going to take me like forever. until I actually created the first one because yeah, but I've used a number of different tools in which it truly was a nightmare to create something.
Mm,
So I fully understand the bias at starting with it without understanding how the system works.
yep.
And I
So,
think that that is really where you excelled with the product development.
this goes to the next thing, and I'll put it here is we are on Tuesday. You'll hear us announce we're doing a becoming super campaign. Inside of that, we will have we're doing like super certifications where you're going to go like, become super certified. And then we'll have other partners in the system. We're going to have a special cohort that'll be limited. I do not know the exact number. It's going to be like 10 to 20. They'll be going through it. And if you get that, we're like having MDFs. And if you have a vertical specific build, we're building a large website that is going to say, here are the super certified vertical builds inside by industry that we'll be like having and hosting that we're going to like spread widely. So it can say, here are the people I have verified that I know can deliver a standardized way to an industry. And I'm just trying to like provide some clarity. Um, that say, so we're going to start giving certifications that like, and I call it credit. Like, I mean, I'm not going to use the word accreditation. We're going to start getting validation of how people work and the experience you should expect because they have super. Because I'm here to help partners win. And so I'm going to help, and then I'm going to distribute that far and wide to anyone that has HubSpot on their LinkedIn profile.
It's gonna do a lot of great things. Thank you
Yeah.
for doing the hard work, man. I mean, this is gonna be very impactful, and it's needed. It's so needed because if like it was gonna be tough times. It is tough times right now. We're hearing stories all over the place of onboardings and messy portals and people knowing how good the investment in HubSpot should be, and they just cannot unlock it for their
Mm-hmm.
businesses. And they're at a point where it's like, I'm leading this, I can't just accept that it's not working for us. So if I don't get somebody to help me fix this right now, I've got to leave and try something else. And we can, like, stuff like this helps us solve for that, helps a lot of people solve for that, which is what we need right now. We need a lot of people solving for this HubSpot adoption gap. And we have the tools to do it. It's just kind of stepping up and saying, yes, I'm a partner and I want to solve for that gap. I do not just want to onboard people endlessly and then send them on their way. Let's help people get more out of the best customer platform on the planet. I mean, this is going to help them do that. So we appreciate you so much, man, for stopping by. Really excited for this launch. Really excited to see what's happening next week. Keep doing the awesome work. If you're out there seeing this, and especially if you're a partner, maybe you know you need to extend past the onboarding. Now that HubSpot is doing some itself, here's the opportunity right here. Like, this is how you just easily take that jump. uh, think about your process, think about your customer base, think about your opportunity pipeline, find those opportunities, and let's grow. Have a great day, everybody.